I also want to take a moment to thank our Alumni Board of Directors. If everybody could please stand if you're here today. Perfect. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, guys. And now to share a few words from our university leadership, please help me welcome someone who has done so much for Central and continues to guide our future, Chair of the CMU Board of Trustees, Dr. Nancy Walker Peacock, class of 1982. Well, good morning. I don't think it's quite noon yet, but welcome everyone. I want to tell you the Board of Trustees has been busy this weekend. Just to give you a little insight, we took some initiatives to, I'm almost embarrassed saying this with one of our awardees sitting in the room, but we have taken the initiative to start to push ahead with artificial intelligence and learning how to use it in the classroom, learning how to incorporate our teaching styles that we'll be able to make the best use of this, freeing up some funding to do this, and learning how to use it ethically and responsibly. And we are moving at hopefully light speed toward this. It's a big undertaking. You all can just pull up an app on your phones and start using it, but it's a bigger task to do this as a university, and we are plunging full speed ahead into that as I look at Dory Wagner. The other thing we did was we announced our $30 million capital campaign. It has been in the silent phase for about 2.5 years now, and we are moving full speed with that to update our facilities and our experiences for our students. And we can't wait to let you know more about that. If you've been here all weekend, like I have been, you have heard about it ad nauseum, but I will tell you that you will hear more, and please feel free to take part in that campaign because it's exciting. I would like to just kind of conclude my remarks by saying the people that we are honoring today, those of you who have come in to receive Alumni Awards, represent the best of Central Methodist University. We are proud of you. We are proud of your lives of commitment and excellence. We thank you for coming and being with us today because you make all of us better. So thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Peacock. We're so grateful for your leadership and love you being part of it. Yeah. Before we get started, I'd like to note that Beverly Garner was unable to join us due to her previous engagement. We are looking forward to celebrating her in person at next year's Alumni Awards. Now it's time to celebrate some truly amazing Eagles. Each year, the Alumni Board of Directors has the privilege of reviewing nominations for our Alumni Awards, and I can tell you it's one of the hardest and happiest jobs we do. We're inspired every time we read about our incredible things that our alumni are doing in their careers and in their careers and in their communities. Today's honorees represent the best of the best, and we can't wait to introduce them. This year we are doing a special award, the University Service Award, which was established in 1988 to recognize exceptional service to Central Methodist University. This award is presented occasionally only to individuals whose service is extensive and extraordinary. It is my pleasure to call forward Reverend Dr. Clayton Smith, class of 1970, to share some insights into our awardee.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you, Dr. Drake, and thank you, Alumni Board of Directors. It's amazing your recognizing leadership multiplies the impact of leadership for today and our tomorrows. I'm reminded of a quote of C.S. Lewis, who oftentimes put a very clever sense of humor in what he had to say and how he said it. A quote that he has about character goes like this: what you see and what you hear depends on where you're standing. It also depends on what sort of person you are. Jeff was a leader, and he was dearly missed. He passed away a year ago on a Sunday morning. I talked with his wife several times, and most recently I asked her to share something that I could share with you. Linda said it this way: Jeff really loved people. She said, I went through his files, and he had hundreds of files. Each file had a different name of a different person. He kept notes, and he did weekly emails. He gave back to Central Methodist, and that was very important to him, especially later in life. I know he would be honored. Jeff would be thrilled to know that his legacy about leadership will continue with students in years to come. She says, thanks especially for those who contributed to this endowment fund for leadership that will help encourage students in Central Methodist in years to come. Jeff, she says, was a loving and caring husband, a father to Marcus and Nathan and myself. We thank God for Jeff, and we thank God for Jeff's family. Jeff shares a little more word about this email business. I was on the board with Jeff, and when he met me before the meeting started, it was like a fraternity meeting because I was also in his fraternity. And a few minutes into the conversation, he became quiet and then got a little bit embarrassed. He says, Clay, would you like to be on our beta email list? And I said, well, yeah, I'd love to be on. He says, well, it might have a little bit of our language in it. Can you handle that? And I said, I certainly can handle that. I would love the opportunity to handle that. Well, he wasn't wrong, and I think I did cause a little more spiritual growth in the email group. Jeff said about 20 years ago, one of our fellow graduates, Jeff, raise your hand. I don't mean Jeff. My fatigue. Yeah, raise your hand. Brent Spate. Brent, raise your hand. About 20 years ago, one of our fellow graduates initiated an email group from 1968 to 1972, and it started sharing emails of text. There was nearly 50 of us. Jeff somehow retrieved birthdays, wedding anniversaries from each one of us, and then on those days he would send all of us a reminder so we could wish them happy birthday and happy anniversary. Isn't that amazing? And I'm sad to say that has not continued. One of the other dear friends of Jeff's, Rick Daly, had this to say. Jeff indicated leadership, but before he indicated leadership in what he did and how he lived, he demonstrated a number of other qualities: kindness, encouragement, empathy, inclusion, generosity, commitment, volunteerism, loyalty, courage. He says alongside these leadership traits, he said he had many more admirable behaviors. It means more than showing up or being present at a formal event or gathering on occasions. Leaders participate. They are role models. They inspire. They mentor. They sometimes deny or decline. Jeff has a rich history of involvement in giving back, and this will continue at CMU to nourish the same example in others. One other thing that I want to share, I think, which is significant, was that Jeff's service began when he was elected a class president as a sophomore. And he was elected a class president as a junior, and he was elected a class president as a senior. And he was the homecoming king. I had the privilege of serving along with him, and Jeff was genuine. So we thank God about Jeff, and I've shared this with Jeff a couple of times in my life, and he accused me of preaching. But I'm going to close with these words. There are loyal hearts and spirits brave. There are souls that are pure and true. So give the Lord the very best you have, and the best will come back to you. Have love, and the love will flow to your heart, a strength in your utmost need. And have faith, and a score of hearts will show their faith in your word and in your deed. Amen.
Thank you, Clayton. At this time, I would like to call forward our university leader, Dr. Roger Drake.
Thank you, and thank you folks for being here and sharing this weekend. And what an amazing weekend it has been. For those of you who were in church this morning at Lynn Memorial, that was an amazing experience. Pastor Bill, the chorale, just well done. We have a saying in Appalachia that if that won't get your fire started, your kindling is wet. And that's what happened over there. Jeff Hogan-Miller loved this college. He loved the history of the college. He loved that his uncle before him was a valued member of the Board of Trustees. When Jeff was at work in Chicago, or later when he retired to Venice, Florida, Jeff's heart was always at Central. He was a gracious and generous donor to his alma mater, but more important than that, he donated freely of his time and his talent. I always appreciated Jeff's comments because they would always come from his frame as a former VP for Human Resources. Jeff always thought about the mission of the university through the lens of the people who work here, and more importantly, the students who live and learn here. Selfishly, I miss Jeff because he was just a lot of fun to be around. I always learned something in every interaction with Jeff. He will be missed. I remember visiting with Jeff and Linda in Chicago. I had great visits with Jeff in Florida. Jeff loved life, and Jeff loved Central. It is fitting that we remember fondly the many contributions to Central Methodist University made by Jeff Hogan-Miller. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Drake. So I know you heard a little of this. I'm going to go ahead and share about Mr. Hogan-Miller. While at Central, Jeff was a member of the marching band, a member of Phi Mu Alpha fraternity, played tennis, was a member of Beta Sigma social fraternity, and was active in student government, including serving as president of the sophomore, junior, and senior classes, just to name a few of his activities. Jeff served CMU through the decades in addition to his service while as a student. Jeff served CMU as a campaign volunteer for the Campaign for Eagles Athletics and Campaign for Central. He also served Central as a class agent for multiple years. Following these years as a campaign volunteer, Jeff served on the President's Council under President Marion Inman, and then served on the Board of Trustees from 2002 to 2020. That is nearly 60 years of giving back to Central. Wow. To honor Jeff's memory and commitment to Central, Jeff's classmates and friends have created the Jeff Hogan-Miller Student Leadership Endowment Award, which will be given every spring to the student who is deemed to have contributed the most to the student body during the recent school year in terms of time, talents, and attitude. Jeff Hogan-Miller was a true eagle in every sense of the word. Now I would like to ask Dr. Drake, Clayton, and Jeff's classmates to come forward to accept the service award on Jeff's behalf.
Got it. Thank you.
And now we will begin with our awardees.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandon Rose. I had the privilege of meeting Geofrey in college. I met him my freshman year, and we've been best friends ever since. So I'm going to say a few words about Geofrey. It's my absolute honor to introduce this year's Young Alumni Award recipient, my best friend since college, Geofrey Bilabaye. Since graduating, he's built a resume that's nothing short of incredible. He went on to earn his law degree, became an amazing prosecutor and still is a prosecutor in Michigan. He enlisted in the Army National Guard to serve his country and practice law. And then he just recently graduated as a judge advocate in the U.S. Army. And even managed to absolutely crush me in a half marathon. We ran a half marathon a couple years ago, and we were training together, kind of like through text message, because he lives in Michigan, I live in St. Louis. So it was a little competition between the two of us, and yeah, he whipped me. He above everything, like I said, what stands out most about Geofrey, it isn't his titles or his medals or his achievements. It's his relentless drive. This man will do anything for anyone. He never gives up. He pushes for everything he wants. I mean, he's done anything and everything you can think of. I love him like my brother. He is my fraternity brother. So with that being said, please join me in congratulating Geofrey on this Young Alumni Award. Wow. I usually I don't run out of words a lot in my life. Those of you who remember me from when I was SGA president, I usually have a lot to say. I remember. Dr. Drake, yes. We had a few debates.
Won every one of them.
Except for ping pong. I remember you roping me very well. I'm a trial lawyer in Michigan. And since my student body president days, I've learned to say very little. So I won't be here long. Before I begin my remark, I just wanted to make sure that it's acknowledged that any statements I say, it's not the official position of the Department of War. I do not speak on behalf of the National Guard Bureau. I do not speak for the Michigan Army National Guard. I don't speak for the 46th Military Police Command. And I definitely do not speak for the state prosecutor attorney. Ladies and gentlemen, I came to the United States at the age of 17. I duffled everything I had in 2 suitcases and a duffel bag, and I showed up here. I didn't know anyone or much of anything, but I bet everything I had on me, and I wanted an opportunity to come to a place where I could be my own, and where I could see how I measure up. It's been 10 years since I've been here. My heart has always been at Central. This is where it all started for me. I learned so much about who I am as a person. I learned to take advantage of everything. Dr. Drake will tell you, I was involved in everything. I did everything there was to do on campus, and I enjoyed it. I had fun here, and I quite literally learned to jump headfirst at every opportunity given to me, and I'm grateful for that. When I say literally, I mean it. My freshman year, there's a bridge between Smiley Library and Stedman Hall. It snowed 21 inches that year. It was my first time seeing snow that year. My fellow classman, also a freshman, had an idea of building a huge pile of snow. and we were jumping from the bridge onto it. And yes, I was one of those people. At the time, Dr. Inman was president, and she had sent someone immediately after I had jumped to say, tell those kids to stop. I almost had a heart attack. I always thought that person made it up. And a couple years later, Dr. Drake became president, and I had just been elected student body president. And he called me to his office, and he wanted to know what I was thinking going forward, what I wanted to do. And as I was leaving his office, the president has a clear sight of the bridge from his office. So really, Dr. Inman did see me jump off that bridge. And I know for sure that was accurate. But I learned to take advantage of the opportunities that have been given to me, because I believe we exist in a beautiful country. It's only here is my story possible. I became an assistant attorney general in the state of Michigan. I was still an immigrant. In my application, nobody asked what my race was. Nobody asked who I was, which nationality I'm from. They looked at a resume, they gave me an interview, I got the job. Nowhere else in the United States is my story possible. Not even in the countries that are superpower. I couldn't be a prosecutor in China, prosecute Chinese. I couldn't be the same in Japan. I couldn't be in German. I couldn't be the same in France. I could only do that in America. And this is the only place my story is possible. I joined the military after I was a licensed attorney as a way to give thanks to the United States for the opportunities I've been given. And those started here. I went through here through scholarships. I wouldn't have been able to afford law school had it not been for scholarship. Dr. John Carter literally paid for my ELSA exam. I would not have been here had it not been for Central. I wouldn't have amounted to much had it not been for Central. This place has given me so much, and there isn't anything I could do other than give back to the United States for all the things she has given to me and continues to give to me. Central also taught me about resilience. Not everything comes easy. I've had to rely on people, and I'm sure I'll continue to do so. Some of those people are here today. Those are the people who know me well. Some of them I contact them through Reels, but we still communicate. And I've kept those relationships for 10 years. Some of them I'm seeing them for the first time in 10 years, and we picked up exactly where we left off, screaming at the football game, braving the rain, playing sorry late at night, just like the good old days. So, with that being said, I am forever grateful to the United States for the kindness of her people and for the kindness you have shown me through my time here. And I hope I continue to serve my community, my country, for a long time. One thing I learned, and I hope I continue to learn, is that he who has the why can endure almost anyhow. Thank you.
I have the honor of introducing our next awardee, Dr. Shayna Burchett. I've also heard Dr. B is what she's well known for around here. Great. She's a professor of chemistry at Central Methodist University, where she teaches courses ranging from organic chemistry to thermodynamics and physics physical chemistry. Burchett is an active member of the Missouri Academy of Science, for which she has served as chemistry chair, vice president, president, and currently senior division co-director. She lives in Fayette with her husband, Matt, and her 4 children, 2 of whom currently attend CMU. All right, thank you. Good afternoon. I am so excited to now know the reason that we were told we weren't allowed to jump off the bridge. I wondered for years. I'm like, there's always a person behind every single rule, and I'm so excited to meet you. Okay, I wrote my speech because normally when I stand up, I get to speak for 50 minutes, and I don't think you guys want to sit here for that long. So, good afternoon. It's an incredible honor to be here today and receive the Young Alumni Award. Standing here feels both humbling and full circle because CMU has always felt like home to me. When I graduated from CMU, I remember standing right next to Dr. Gordon, right outside Stedman, and saying, if I go get my PhD, can I come back here and teach with you? And he smiled and said, of course. So that's what I did. It took 10 years for me to be able to get back here. And in those 10 years, I got to do some really amazing things. I know that, God had a hand in making that a longer journey. I got to work with the printing department, making money and working with the ink on that. I know, weird stuff. There's strange things I get involved in. I've worked with giants in my industry. I got to sit at a table with the people who named the last 6 elements of the periodic table. Yeah, I know. Why? I don't know. How do I get into these situations? At any rate, so to be recognized by a community that gave me so much is deeply meaningful. I want to thank my professors, many of whom are now my colleagues, for modeling what it means to teach with both rigor and compassion. You showed me that education isn't just about what we know, but it's about how we share it. CMU has continued to shape my life in ways that I never imagined. 2 of my children now go here. Sadie is sitting right there, and she's going to graduate with her bachelor's degree in psychology and heading on to graduate school. And Douglas is sitting next to her. He sang this morning over at the church. Very proud of him. He is pursuing his degree in music. Next year, Amaya will be joining the PTA program, and little Oliver that's in the back will get him 18 years, and hopefully he'll be joining us here too. That means you guys get me for at least 18 more years. To my students, I want to thank you for reminding me daily why I love what I do. Watching them grow and discover their own paths is the best reward of all. To my family and friends, my mentors, and specifically my husband, Matt, who's in the back with Oliver, my parents, Ken and Deanne, who are here, I want to thank you for supporting me through every step of this journey. And to CMU, thank you for being the place where my dreams began, where they were nurtured, and where they finally came true. I'm very proud to be an Eagle, proud to teach here, deeply grateful to be a part of a community that changes lives, including mine. Thank you.
All right, now it's my turn. It is my pleasure to introduce this year's Young Alumni Award recipient, Chris Ebright. Chris graduated from Central Methodist University in 2011 with his master's in education. During his time at Central Methodist, he provided coaching support for the baseball team as a volunteer. Chris's baseball career, both as a player and coach, speaks for itself. He was a 4-year starter as a catcher for Saginaw Valley State, set several program records, and has coached at least 20 players who have advanced to a professional league. He is currently the head baseball coach at Blair Oaks High School. His leadership does not stop at the baseball field. He is a general manager at NH Sheppers Distributing, board member of the Missouri Beer Wholesalers Association, Jefferson City Chamber of Commerce member, board member of United Way, and a major supporter of the Central Methodist Athletic Auction. Congratulations, Chris.
Those are 2 tough acts to follow. You two. Always great to be back on campus. So many great memories. Some I can share. The statute of limitations, I'm sure, are up on some of them. Am I good? You're good. I'm good. Okay. I must admit, when I first thought about coming to Central Methodist, I was very, very nervous. Reason being is that I was playing professional baseball in Australia, in Perth, Australia, which had over 2 million people. And then I moved to Calgary, Alberta, Canada, which had 1.3 million people. And then I was living in Buffalo, New York, which had, I don't know, roughly 400,000 people. So you could say thinking about coming to Fayette was a big shock, right? My first trip here was I knew the other grad assistant, and I knew Fred Smith. I'm sure most of you know Fred Smith. He was the head coach. And the winter practices just started. There was a 5 a.m. practice. And again, I was just here to visit. I knew the other graduate assistant. And 5 a.m. practice. And Fred called and said he was going to be late. I'm like, okay, no big deal. He had to break ice on his pond for his cows. So I was like, what am I getting myself into? All right. Actually, it was, Fred came back and sat with him, and he said it was my first life lesson. He says, I trust my assistants. So I thought, I flew back to Buffalo, thought about it, and I was here 2 weeks later. So, I look back, and who would have thought this small town would have such a huge impact? Personally, professionally, on my life, I've made some of the best friends that I still connect with. I'd get in trouble if I didn't say it. I met my wife when I was attending CMU. We just celebrated our 12th year anniversary. So there's that. Emerson and RJ are here. I just wanted to bring up their names. I'm proud of them, but also, as a parent, you want to embarrass them. So, and as you can see, it's working. I must also say, the current administration, faculty, employees, coaches, you all are doing amazing, wonderful things. And I am very grateful for CMU and very proud to have CMU a part of my life. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jonathan Holm, and it is an honor to be with you back here at Central Methodist University. I've got the distinct pleasure of introducing my great friend, fraternity brother, and brother in Christ, Chris Culmer. Before I begin kind of his bio, I just want to thank the Dr. Drake here and the rest of the board, the tremendous job that CMU has done. I started at CMC way back in 2001. It's so great to come back to the campus every homecoming and see the progress that's made. So appreciate you all. Kristofferson Culmer left his family in the Bahamas behind to come here to Fayette, Missouri, to Central Methodist University. Chris and I, we have so many memories together. And when I received the invitation in the mail, frankly, I wasn't surprised. Chris has always been an overachiever in every facet of his life. I was not at all surprised that he'd be receiving this award, and I'm just honored to be a small part of it. But he truly deserves this. Chris and I worked together on bringing Phi Delta Theta to Central Methodist years ago, and we were part of Sigma Alpha Chi back in those days, and just he has an incredible love, much like many of the award recipients. He has an incredible love for people and students in particular. And that was great to work with you side by side in the fraternity for many years. I find great inspiration in his humility, sense of humor, and unwavering drive to help others reach their potential. Chris also served as student government president here at Central Methodist. He ran varsity track for 4 years, and he won more awards that I could possibly mention today. Today, though, he is an assistant teaching professor at the University of Missouri in the Department of Engineering and Information Technology, and he also directs the Autonomous Systems Lab. Through the lab, Chris leads students in hands-on innovation in artificial intelligence, robotics, and machine learning. Beyond campus activities, he serves on the Missouri DESE Computer Science Advisory Council. He mentors young leaders still here at the college in Phi Delta Theta, and he finds time to lead small groups at his church. His life reflects everything about excellence, service, faith, and the quiet power of leadership through example. So his journey from Central Methodist to Mizzou and now to a award-winning professor truly is incredible. He continues to inspire me and everyone who he comes in contact with, and I believe the best is even yet to come for my brother. I'm so proud of you, man. Congratulations.
Good afternoon, everybody. How you guys doing?
Fabulous.
So, Aunt Laura. So whenever people hear I'm from the Bahamas, the second question after they ask me where I'm from is usually always, well, why did you come here? How did you make it here? And so at this point in my life, I could say because Central was calling. And so before I get started with my comments, I just want to give thanks to a couple of people who couldn't be here. You notice it says Doug Hansen was supposed to introduce me, but he couldn't make it because he had some family issues at home that he had to take care of. Doug is a really great friend of mine, a fraternity brother, and I wish he could be here today. I also want to give thanks to my mother, who's long since passed away and gone home to be with the Lord. But it's because of her that I'm also here. I'm going to try not to shed any tears while I'm up here, but if I do, please forgive me. So I stand before you today, deeply humbled and honestly a bit overwhelmed. When I first got the email from Stacia Sherman saying that I was going to receive this award, I thought it was a mistake. And so I thought to myself, who would have even nominated me? And then Doug called me and said, hey, did you see the email? More excited than I was for me to get this award. And so, when I first realized that I was getting this award, and my thought wasn't about the things that I've accomplished, but the people in this room and beyond who made these accomplishments possible. Because the truth is, whatever the success I found didn't begin in a research lab or boardroom. It began right here on campus with people who believed in me before I fully believed in myself. Okay. I graduated from Central in 2006 with degrees in computer science and business. And I tell people all the time, I had the greatest undergrad experience ever, not just at Central, but of any student who received the college degree. I had the best experience. And you cannot prove me wrong because that is my experience. But more importantly, I believe it's because Central gave me something that transcends textbooks and transcripts. This place gave me a foundation built on excellence, on service, on faith, and the quiet power of leadership through example. Let me tell you a little bit about that foundation. Excellence. Excellence at CMU wasn't just about grades, though I did care about grades. It was about being challenged to think bigger, to reach further than I could. It was about professors who didn't just teach me material. They taught me how to learn. They taught me how to question, how to persist. It was an environment where being excellent meant showing up fully, not perfectly, but showing up fully every day. In the classroom, on the track, in Student Government Association meetings, CMU taught me that excellence isn't a destination, but rather it's a daily practice. Service. Service became real to me here in ways I never expected. I learned that leadership isn't about the title you hold. It's about the people you serve. As SGA president, I didn't lead over anyone. I served alongside everyone. That lesson has followed me today everywhere. Today, I serve as a professor and director of the Autonomous Systems Lab at the University of Missouri. I serve on Missouri's Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's Computer Science Advisory Council. I served as president and chief executive officer of the National Association of Graduate Professional Students. As John mentioned, I serve in small group and kids ministry at my church as well. But the through line through all of this, the thread through all of this, is that I learned one simple principle here. The life best lived is the life that's lived to encourage and to enrich others. That's why I serve. That's why everyone should serve. Faith. Faith was woven into the fabric of my time here. It invited me to integrate it into everything in my life, in moments of doubt, in moments of struggle, in moments when I wasn't sure I could afford to stay. I'll make it. In moments when I didn't think I could stay, it taught me that success isn't about what you achieve. It's about how you treat the people. It's about how you treat people along the way. Trust in God. That's the way. Excuse me. I can't see my screen now. Trust in God. That's my first message to anybody here tonight. Trust in God, not just in the big moments, but in the ordinary Tuesday mornings when life doesn't seem like it makes sense. I'm going to get a little personal here because I'm going to call on a couple of names. I want to give thanks to everyone who's contributed to my time and who I am now. I'm going to call on two names. One is Joy Flanders. Joy, how you doing? So Joy was my first advisor here at Central. And so she was my first advisor here at Central. And she saw something in me that I didn't yet see. I'd go to Joy's office when it's time to register for classes. And Joy would sign me up for classes and say, you're enrolled in my 14, 15 hours. And I'd think, good. And she'd say, well, I think you could do a little more. And so she'd enroll me into another class, and I'd have 17, 18, sometimes 19 credit hours. And I could always count on Joy because regardless of what the situation was, I would walk into her office in the library. She'd give me some M&Ms, give me a kind word and a smile, and send me along my way. I could always trust that Joy would be there for me. So thank you. I'm going to call another name, one that you might not think is quite common because no one ever thanks the bursars at a university. But I want to thank Julie Sherman, and here's why. When I came here from the Bahamas, much like Geofrey's story, after I got here, I bought some personal effects. I had to buy a coat, had to buy some sweaters. Yeah. I had $5 in my pocket afterwards, $5 in January. Okay? And so I held on to that $5 because that was what I had. And after thinking about it, sometime it was March, I still had that $5. And I was in church one day and I said, you know, Chris, this doesn't make sense. And I just put it in the offering plate. And I said, God, do with it what you will, because I trust that you'll take care of me. I never missed a meal. Always had a place to stay. Always had clothes on my back. And so, as was my experience here, every semester I would get an email from the finance office saying, Kristofferson Culmer, there's a hold on your account. And so I would go into Julie's office every semester. We had this ritual. I would go into her office and she'd say, Kristofferson, so what are we going to do? And we would come up with some plan for me to get through and pay on some timeline she set out. Never missed a class. Was always able to register. Was always here. And so at a time in higher education when things are getting so expensive and students are leaving college because they can't afford it, I'm exceptionally happy and thankful for that experience here, only at Central. And so Central cared about me. Joy cared about me. Julie cared about me. My professors and friends cared about me. All right. My track and field teammates pushed me. My fraternity brothers, and I mean this, Pleasure U fraternity here at Central was the best decision I ever made. My fraternity brothers aren't just my friends, they're my brothers. We did life together and we still do life together. There's some stories I could tell, but like the person who spoke just said, there may not be statute of limitations on some of those things. And so, but I will say this, the International House of Pancakes will forever be deep in my heart. They know what I mean. Okay, so my second message, and I'll be quick now. My second message is find good people to do life with. You can't do life alone. You weren't meant to do it alone. Find people. Find your people. Invest in them. Let them invest in you. Whether it's a fraternity brother, a teammate, a study partner, a prayer partner, whatever it is, find your people and hold on to them. Last thing is follow your passions. I'm a professor now, but I'm actually nearing the completion of my PhD. I've received funding from the National Science Foundation. I've served on committees with the American Association for the Advancement of Sciences and also the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Mathematics. But none of that would matter if I wasn't passionate about the work. CMU gave me the space to discover the things I loved and the courage to chase it. So I'd say to anyone, there's some young people in here now, don't pick a major. Don't pick a major, pick a mission. Don't choose a career, choose a calling. And as I close, I want to say this. CME prepared me for success not by handing me answers, but by teaching me how to ask better questions. Not by making life easy, but by walking alongside me whenever life got hard. Not by telling me who to be, but by showing me how to become. And so today, this award doesn't belong just to me. It belongs to every professor who stayed late. Every friend who believed in me. And every person who said, you can do it. It belongs to this institution and that continues to shape the lives of students everywhere through excellence, service, faith, and leadership. And so to students here tonight, your CMU experience is still being written. Make it extraordinary, serve others, trust in God, find your people, follow your passion, and one day when you're standing where I am, I hope you'll look back and be able to say with certainty, I had the best undergraduate experience ever. Thank you all. God bless.
What a wonderful afternoon. Hello, I'm Julie Biesmeyer-Ziegler, and it gives me great pleasure to tell you about our next awardee. He was a character player on the Dana Carvey show, the #1 fan in Galaxy Quest, the big cult guard in Dude, Where's My Car?, the principal on Wizards of Waverly Place, the mailman on This Is Us. We remember that, right? And so many other fictional names. The world knows him as an expert in improv, and he has shared that skill around the country and also with students at Central Methodist. Those of us who attended Central Methodist in the 80s know him by so many other different things. He was the mischievous Kai Delch who always had a sly smile. He sang beautifully with his Phi Mu Alpha brothers. He was someone who could instantly make the entire class laugh by just one comment. His second home was in the Little Theater where he participated in so many productions, and I particularly enjoyed The Mikado, where he was the Emperor of Japan. You see, we knew him as just Bill, our brilliant friend. So I say, Bill, thank you for entertaining us for the last 35 years. Thank you for representing Central Methodist, and thank you for being you.
We have loved following your rising star. Bill Chott.
That's not going to stand anywhere. So, those of you who know me well, it should come as no surprise this day after homecoming that I'm very hungover. But seriously, I had, ever since I got the call about speaking here, and being honored amongst all the other accomplished and brave and amazing other alumni, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to say. And then for the longest time, I told myself, I'm an improviser. 3 to 4 minutes, I could do that standing on my head. And then I thought I'd start writing down some thank yous to thank all the people that have helped me from Central to get to where I am and what I've done today and the things that I've been through, and have the opportunities to come back here and teach improv. By the way, 4 p.m. Assembly Hall, if you're not doing anything. Always wanted to learn improv. I'm teaching a workshop. But to have a chance to come back here, and I never thought when I was studying in Central that I would come back here and teach. That I would teach. I didn't think I thought I had done my last play when I did the Mikado. I didn't know that I'd come back here and do, somebody help me out with all the plays that I've done here at this point. So I want to start off by saying, because like I said, I started to make a list of thank yous, and I'm like, I'm going to run, I don't have enough time to thank all the people. The person I want to thank most, or people I want to thank most, is Judy Wethwish and Braxton Wethwish. Judy, are you out here today? Hungover as well. We know. She had told me she intended to be here, so I know that her intention was to be here, and that's what meant the most to me. Because what happened, here's how I found my way to Central. Grew up in St. Louis. Actually, I grew up all over the country. My father wrote corporate theater. He would write speeches for corporations and slideshows and things like that. So we grew up in a bunch of different cities, but always came back to St. Louis. So I'm still definitely very much firmly a Missouri boy. But I wasn't sure where I was going to go to college. And at first, I just wanted to go to study improv at the Second City, which I eventually did. My first teacher was Stephen Colbert, who taught me many lessons about getting canceled. But I was ready to go out there and do it. My dad said, you cannot do that without a well-rounded education. You can't think from the top of your head and find connections with people without being a more well-rounded person. So my first year actually was at University of Missouri St. Louis, because that was right there in town. It was easy. I was just trying to get through college so I can get to Chicago. And they were closing down the theater department at UMSL at the time. And I had just done a production with Judy of Little Shop of Horrors at the Afton Center Stage. And Judy was directing that, as she has directed many generations of Afton High students, including John Goodman. And we all heard about John Goodman before everybody saw him in Revenge of the Nerds and all the other early pictures that he was in. And so Judy said, I'll tell you what, I might be able to get you into Southwest where John went. In the meantime, I'm going to have Braxton set you up with some scholarships and some grants, and he'll figure that all out for you. And you go to Central for a year. And then if you want to go to Southwest after that, you could do that and be part of their tent theater program. They have an awesome theater program. And of course, we know how expansive the theater program here is at Central. So my first play here was, I was technically a freshman. I was a sophomore, but I was brand new, didn't know anybody, as I've been most of my life, because we moved around a bunch, always a new kid. And I played Noah in 2 by 2, the Richard Rodgers musical about Noah's Ark. And I got to be not only a biblical figure, but the lead in a Richard Rodgers musical, something I never would have had the opportunity to do had I gone to a larger school. I would have gotten lost in the crowd. And here I was able to take on any role that I had the opportunity to do, that I wanted to do, I could pursue. And that was because of Judy. That was because of Braxton. God rest his soul. And, okay, you've already seen me cry on This Is Us, so I don't need to do that. So what I wanted to do was just really quickly read a poem that is backstage at the Little Theater and has been since I went here. And it was written to Agnes DeMille from Martha Graham on the opening night of a performance that she was doing. She was a dancer. And this goes not just for performers, but this is great advice for performers. I read it to my improv students all the time. But this goes for everybody in this room. We're all creators in the image of a creator. And, whether we're teaching and creating young minds, helping to create young minds, musicians creating music, actors, pastors, whatever you do to express yourself creatively, this applies to you. Now I need my water. There is a vitality, a life force, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And there is only one of you in all time. This expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium. It will be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is, nor how it compares with other expressions. It is your business to keep it yours, clearly and directly, to keep the channel open. You do not even have to believe in yourself or your work. You have to keep open and aware directly to the urges that motivate you. Keep the channel open. No artist is pleased. There is no satisfaction whatever at any time. Only a queer, divine dissatisfaction, a blessed unrest that keeps us marching and makes us more alive than the others. And so, to everyone in this room, and you all know who you are, thank you for every help, guidance, welcoming me back to campus, welcoming me here to begin with. I'll just close with saying this. You can never make people feel too welcome. Bless you all. Thank you.
I see some legends out here. Wow. My name is Rick Cowart from the class of 1975. Can you hear me? And it's a pleasure to be here to talk about a special person in my life and a lot of us, Mavin Manring. Marvin grew up in Albany, Missouri, Northwest Missouri, up near Maryville. And I happen to know all four of Marvin's school band directors, all four of them. Three of them were Central Methodist alums. First was Pat Nimitz-Atkinson. She started band in the 6th grade with Marvin on the baritone horn, but he was reading out of the tuba book, and there was a reason for that. 7th and 8th grade, Marvin also had another Central Methodist alum, Sarah Antone North, and she moved him up to the tuba. Next, you had Pam Henry for a few years. Then you had another Central Methodist alum, Jim Cunningham, for your senior year. Jim told me that Marvin and a key group of strong music students helped him get through his first year of teaching. Jim went on to say that Marvin and that group carried me. They taught me probably more than I taught them. So we could talk music, and Marvin had a loyalty and a conviction with everything he did. He would see it through to the end. That's Mavin Manring. Marvin first heard the Central Band on tour at King City on an evening concert, and the next morning at a school concert in Albany at the assembly at Albany High School. He said, I was hooked. Because Marvin was from a small high school, he was involved in lots of different activities. FFA chapter president, National Honor Society. Marvin played football and golf, district honor band, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. He was also awarded the John Philip Sousa Award for superior musicianship his senior year. Another little known fact, Marvin was also recruited by Central's then football coach, Don Shinnick, to play football, but he turned it down to be in the music program. True. At Central, Marvin was an a cappella choir for 1 year, Central Methodist College concert and marching band for 4 years in the Prof House. So that means 4 Central Methodist people you had for directors. Marvin was initiated to Find Me Off in December of 1981. Chapter treasurer sophomore year, chapter president junior and senior year, ODK, Chi Delta fraternity, band manager his junior and senior year. Marvin was also Mr. Student Teacher in 1985. He was student teaching at Boonville High School under Steve Lettweiler. While student teaching at Boonville, he got a call from his high school. So they had to let their band director go, could you finish out the November and December semester as our band director? And he did. While at Central, Marvin met Marianne Waters, the class of 86, and made the best decision of his life to marry Marianne. Marianne played trombone her first 2 years at Central, and then her junior year, she was moved up to the percussion section. And as soon as she did, the average grade point of the percussion section went up dramatically. Okay? That's for you, Clarence. At Central, of course, after Central, Marianne and Marvin got married. Marvin taught 37 years. First year at California High School. The next 7 years at Slater High School, where the band earned numerous 1 ratings. 1993 to 2022 at Stockton High School, and the band earned 15 exemplary ratings. Marvin has been MMEA, Missouri Music Educators Association historian since 2008 and continues in that capacity today. This guy is the brain trust of the history of MMEA. He has also been district vice president, district president of the Southwest Division, District of Missouri Music Educators Association. He is a rules interpreter for the Missouri State High School Activities Association and on the Music Advisory Committee for a 4-year term. He and Marianne spend 7 weeks in the summer in Switzerland. We all want to be Marvin, okay? They help music groups navigate being in a foreign country and what venues they'll be playing in. Also, Central Methodist Alumni Band Director was at 2018. I was in that band. I was privileged to be there. By the way, if you saw the parade on Saturday and saw the alumni floating band go by, that was Marvin's idea 12 years ago. Marvin and Marianne have been members of the United Methodist Church in Stockton since 1993. And Marvin is currently leading the chancel choir. They have 2 wonderful kids, Liz, who plays tuba and graduated from Mizzou, and Lucas, who ran track and ran cross country for the Central Methodist Eagles and was recently inducted into the Central Methodist Athletic Hall of Fame. Please help me welcome Mavin Manring, class of 1985.
I'm glad I wrote some things down because I think Rick did it all. Well, I guess It's one more for this banquet, and I know that we have a lot of Central Band alums here who would love to hear Prof. House's voice say, one more. We knew we were going to be late for dinner, and we didn't care because we had some of the greatest musical experiences right there in Seabury basement. Hard stop of 1:30, right? That's how these banquets, well, here we are. We're in overtime. I am grateful for the opportunity and the honor to offer a few remarks, and most of them are based on some quotes that I've heard from the 45 years being a part of the CMU family. Pumpkin Center needs a good band too. I think most of the Central Band members of the Keith House era heard that at one time or another in rehearsal. For me, it was in clarinet class after Prof had endured yet another hour of us squeaking and squawking, all us brass players just trying to get a handle on the clarinet. Most of the time the left hand was on top, which was great. I was a product of a small school band program, and I really believe that every kid ought to have the opportunity and the chance to enjoy band the way I had. And my Central alums who led me through those formative years made all the difference. I got a little taste of Paul Montemuro thanks to Pat Atkinson. And I got a big taste of Keith House thanks to how Sarah Antone and how Jim Cunningham ran the band as well. Prof took chances on folks like me. He went out to all the little towns in Missouri, and not just to play with tour, but also to look for people who would benefit from belonging. And he had an immense talent for taking a diverse group of experiences like what I brought to the table and welding them together into a fantastic concert band. And it's guided me through all my days. One of the most respected musicians in the state of Missouri and the Midwest internationally. Somewhere in a scrapbook, I have a 7th grade festival evaluation form of my first tuba solo from the Grand River Conference Music Festival, and it bears Prof's signature. So he was already mining the talent, I guess, even back then, but also sharing a lot of his wisdom and expertise. He reminded us on several occasions as students here that all we can do is give you the license to go out and learn your trade. He knew it wasn't all going to get stuffed into these 4 years. And there was so much more out there to learn, and just keep learning. You know, I occasionally got the itch to look into the larger school systems, but I was always glad to be out in one of the pumpkin centers of the Missouri school system. And yes, I know where Pumpkin Center is. Another quote, and is a tribute to the parents. Where do you need me and when? Mom and Dad were children of the Great Depression. They raised 8 kids, sent them all to college. Dad wrote later in life about experiences growing up on the farm. Money was scarce. When any opportunity to help neighbors out came along, where do you need me and when? Both my parents were great examples of working for progress and the common good. They worked quietly behind the scenes at local boards of governance, band boosters. I think maybe a couple of Albany band directors could say, yeah, Mom was rather formidable about let's get the new uniforms and let's do this and let's do that. But she worked so quietly behind the scenes to make it happen. With apologies to Marianne, I'd probably say yes too often to a lot of things, but helping out is just kind of in the DNA of the family. It's baked in. Just like in the band, you're not there to be a warm body, with apologies to the trombone section of the alumni band yesterday. But you'd better be ready to play, and I should have reminded myself a little bit more about that. If you sign up, show up. Being a school and music teacher, and especially in a smaller school, means community participation. It means taking the time to be a strong advocate for your program, because if you don't, who else is going to do it? Make room for that. In the pumpkin centers of the world, it's almost always up to you, and Central, by and large, trained me for that. Another quote, Mom, are you sure there's any way to make a living at this? Mom asked me this in August of 1981. I was mowing the yard, and she came out and stopped me and said, are you really sure you want to do this? Yes, I do. She passed away a few years ago, and even now she may still be wondering the same thing. Is there any way to make a living at this? Largely about poor teacher pay that she observed at the time. And I know what my my Albany band directors went through. I know the pittance that they were living on. I'm so glad that things have improved so much for teachers around the state. Mary Ann and I went through a lot of tight spots financially as we grew, built a home, built a family. As the years go by, we realized that, it's the lifelong friends that we've made through this profession. It's really true. You make a life and not a living. Our kids took us to a lot of places around the states because of their achievements, internationally even. Liz and Lucas are a real treasure to us. Their families are a joy to Oma and Opa. Liz is an award-winning journalist, so you know what school she went to. Lucas, you've heard about his achievements here. He recently earned his Master's of Business Administration at the University of Texas in Austin. So they are doers, and we're so proud of both of them and their families. Another quote: "Don't take yourself too seriously." Those were wise words from Ted House when I took the gavel for Phi Mi Alpha. Ted, I failed terribly at this on many, many occasions, but we either learn or fail on our way to learning, and that's pretty much the whole essence of the music game anyway. I was around my share of teachers and coaches over the years who either demanded or commanded respect, and I constantly learned from those examples. I hope that over those years I was able to give my kids enough of a sense of ownership and pride and musical achievement in their band and choir that we could work together. I would occasionally quote a House, Anson, or Schroyer and say, you're hearing this from your grandparents, because they were the ones that really saw me through. We had a pretty good time of it while we did, and I hope I showed them some wonderful times in the music world. A teaching colleague at Stockton stopped me in the hall one day, just completely unsolicited. We weren't even talking about something. And she just stopped and said, band class gives a lot of these kids at this school who really aren't involved in anything else a real place to belong. Well, I was hoping that, somewhere Prof was smiling about that. One more quote. "That Marv is so damn lucky." Ron Anson leaned over to Mary Ann during my senior tuba recital and said that. I think it was during my memorized piece, which some folks over here could tell some stories about memorization that's a whole nother banquet, I think. Looking back at the time I was here at Central, and I had a great time in and out of the classroom. In the 40 years that have passed since graduation, the tribe of friends here that have stayed in touch both in and out of the music education profession, the Wednesday night Zoom group that came together during COVID, and we still meet every Wednesday night for a little happy hour and just to catch up with each other and stay in touch. We talk all things Central and all things profession and a little political sometimes, and we have a great time of it, but we stay in touch. I'm grateful to be a part of the Central family and its traditions. I had 3 of this college graduates as band director during my school years, and even though I'm sure they weren't making the payday they deserve, they all influenced me to choose this path. I hope that free advice is still available, because I'll take it. I'll close with a thanks to the Alumni Board for this recognition, and I couldn't have even dreamed this was a possibility. And even as I stand here, I can think of a short list of about 100 other deserving Central grads who have done so much more out in the world. I couldn't have done much in the last 40 years without a wonderful partner in Mary Ann, and I'll agree with Bear on this. That Marv is so damn lucky. Great things are happening here at Central, even though higher education has sure taken its share of knocks in today's world. I'm grateful for everyone here on campus that is keeping it strong and vibrant and relevant and making sure that the pumpkin centers of the world are still a better place. We couldn't always send money as graduates. We steered a lot of students onto campus. We hosted the band and choir tours. We introduced a lot of people to this special place. And because it was shared with us, we sure want to share it with others. Thank you again for this honor. I'm grateful.
Wow. So everyone's stories have touched my heart. I know it's touched all of yours. So to our awardees, thank you so much for reminding us why Central is so special and continuing to inspire those good things in our lives as well. I would like to, at this time, invite all of the awardees to come up afterwards and take a picture and our Alumni Board of Directors. And please join me in giving one more round of thank you to our awardees. Also want to throw in a thank you to everyone who made this event happen. So everyone who did stuff behind the scenes, thank you. Let's give them a round of applause as well, please. And as a wrap to homecoming weekend, I hope you all go home with eagle pride in your heart. Thank you so much for spending Sunday with us. Thank you. Yep.
Okay, awardees, can you step over to the wall over there and we'll snap your photos real